Have you ever felt a room go quiet when you enter, as if your name were a candle someone just blew out? Have you ever asked the wind, if I loved myself, would the world stop looking past me? Emelie lived with those questions in a valley of stone houses and fig trees, where the bell at dusk drew everyone home. She mended cloth in a narrow stall by the well. People praised her hands, yet walked away when she named her price, because she barely named it. She feared to seem proud. She feared to take up space. On the eve of the harvest circle, each villager prepared an offering bread, bowls, songs, woven sky. The elders would bless the gifts, and one maker would be invited to speak a wish at the fire. Emelie worked by lamplight on a river blue shawl. She saw one cross-stitch stray a hair and felt her chest tighten as if a hand had closed around her breath. Hook 1. Tonight decides who may voice a wish and Emelie still measures her worth in mistakes. Under lanterns, she laid down the shawl. The miller leaned in. Price. Whatever you think is fair, she said. His smile thinned. If you don't know, why should I? He moved on. Others followed. By dusk, the shawl lay untouched, and wishes thundered from other mouths. Emelie heard them from the back, a ghost among light. She left before the last blessing and walked to the river. The reed beds hissed. The moon looked like a coin someone had bitten to test. She pressed her palms to the shawl. If I loved myself, she whispered. Would you have been chosen? Ask better, a voice said. An old woman stood in the shallows, skirts heavy with river light, hair silver, eyes the color of wet stone. A basket of beeswax candles on her arm, and a small mirror the size of a palm. Who are you? Emelie asked. Someone who remembers, the woman said. When you forget, then help me. I vanish inside myself. Not vanish, the woman said. You abandon. She held out the mirror. 3 acts. Do them by sunrise, sunset, and the next sunrise. First, speak your name to your reflection as you would bless a child. Second, when someone asks your price, say it once, then say nothing else. Third, when the bell warns of storm, go where you would normally wait for others and act. Storm, Emelie asked. A chill ran her spine. The sky visits everyone, the woman answered. Readiness is not weather, it is hearth. She pressed the mirror into Emelie's hand. Love yourself, and the world will find your fire and stand around it, but build the fire. Hook 2. 3 acts, 1 night, and a storm not yet born. Before dawn, Emelie set the mirror on the sill. Her face startled her tired eyes. A mouth braced against its own words. She touched her heart. Emelie, she said softly, be well. The sound trembled, then steadied, like a foal learning its legs. She ate bread and olives before lifting a needle. She had often worked hungry, as if hunger proved goodness. Now she let food be a kindness, and felt her hands grow sure. By noon, the square swelled with voices. The potter came, eyeing the river blue shawl. Price panic rose like smoke. Emelie pressed her heel to the earth, found ground, and named a fair number. Silence held. Not empty a strong, quiet room. The potter nodded and paid. Emelie laughed, surprised by the brightness of her own sound, as if a bird had flown from her chest. If a tale like this steadies you, stay close to this hearth, subscribe, so these stories keep traveling from heart to heart. Now listen. Hook 3. 1 act remains, and the sky has other plans. Afternoon turned to pewter. A wind came down the hills, tasting of iron. The bell tolled twice. Storm. People rushed to latch shutters and pull animals under roofs. Emelie's first impulse was to tuck herself behind her stall and wait for braver feet to thunder past. She stepped into the lane instead. Go to the square, she told herself, calm as a hand on a skittish colt. Act. Rain struck in a sheet. Water carved channels through dust and swirled around the old well. 2 children chased a runaway hoop. The smaller slipped. The older grabbed a wrist and slid too, both skidding toward the well zones here. Emelie cried. She flung her newly sold shawl across a jutting block and tied one end around her waist. She lay flat in the mud, cold soaking her to the ribs, and thrust the other end to the children. Rapid thunder chalked the sky. She dug her toes into the lane, every muscle burning. The younger reached first. She hauled him across the stones. The older boy's fingers slipped from the wet cloth. In that heartbeat, the well seemed to widen. No one moved. The square held its breath. Emelie rolled and caught the boy's wrist. She felt his pulse, a frightened bird. Hold, she said, eyes locked on his. Not today. She pulled with a sound that seemed to come from the ground itself. He came. They both came. They collapsed, laughing the laugh people laugh when they meet the edge and step back whole. Hook 4. When she acts for herself, she saves others. When she saves others, she becomes herself. Villagers flooded in ropes, blankets, too late and just in time. The miller stood rain dark, staring. You, he said, and for once the word held respect. By evening the storm had spent itself. The square smelled of wet stone and smoke. Emelie wrung the shawl and wore it anyway, stained and splendid. She went to the river. The old woman waited, as if called by the rain. You completed the 3 acts, the woman said. I did, Emelie answered. But I think the acts completed me. You named your worth, the woman said, and then you protected life with it. That is what self-love is. Not a wall, a gate you guard. Emelie studied her reflection in the small mirror. The face didn't look stronger, it looked present. When I spoke my name, I felt foolish, she said. When I said my price, I felt rude. When I ran into the storm, I was afraid. After each, something turned inside me, like a door finally swinging on oiled hinges. The world, the woman said, is a field of iron filings. A heart certain of its center becomes a magnet. It does not chase, it aligns. Things come. Villagers drifted to the river Pathapotter, the baker, the elders, the children with rescued eyes. They didn't crowd, they settled, grateful, as people do around warmth. A girl placed a sprig of lavender in Emelie's hand. Mother says, you are brave. I was ready, Emelie replied, and felt the truth settle like a cloak. An elder raised a hand. One wish remained, left open by the storm. Emelie lifted the mirror, then the sprig of lavender. My wish is this, she said. May each of us become a hearth for ourselves first, so our warmth is true for others. A hush valve, good kind, soft as a blanket over tired shoulders. After that night, nothing changed all at once, yet everything felt different. People looked at Emelie and saw someone who had chosen herself and their eyes, learning that learned to choose themselves too. Her stall stayed busy. Children asked for stitches and stories. Sometimes strangers came from the next valley, saying they'd heard of the shawl that became a rope. On harder days, Emelie returned to the mirror. She touched her heart and said her name like a blessing. She remembered the rain, the boy's pulse, the feeling in her arms when she pulled him back, the proof that loving herself made her hands brave for others. Love yourself, and the world will gravitate toward you not because you beg it to, but because gravity recognizes a center. If this story warmed your chest, stay close, there are more. Every day is a fresh chance to turn the hinge and step through. Stay well and stay peaceful.